This is History Myths and Mythconceptions. And today's mythconception is Diogenes was the founder of Cynicism. Diogenes is by far the most famous Cynic philosopher. Most of the time, he is the only Cynic philosopher people actually know of. So quite frequently they assume that the philosophy of Cynicism was actually first introduced by Diogenes, and he is the founder of this ancient Greek school of thought. Which is not entirely true. If the people are somehow actually interested in Cynicism, they dig a bit deeper, they Google stuff, and then stumble upon Antisthenes, who is frequently declared the actual founder of the Cynic school, which is also not entirely true. So, who was the founder? Well, it's complicated. Probably both, or maybe none. That is also a possibility. First of all, we must understand that Diogenes at some point ceased to be a human being and became a myth. Most of the stories you'll ever hear about him come from lives and opinions of eminent philosophers written by Diogenes Laertius. Just for the record, Diogenes Laertius and our Diogenes, Diogenes of Sinope, are two different people. So, which part of this story is true is not entirely clear. Antisthenes, well, pretty much the same story. Diogenes Laertius is the main source on Antisthenes as well. But obviously Antisthenes was never as popular as Diogenes. He is, in a way, less mythological. He's not meeting with the kings of Macedon every now and then. With that in mind, we can take a closer look. And we will see that the philosophy of Antisthenes was most definitely indeed either the early form of Cynicism or its direct precursor. From the quotes attributed to Antisthenes, we can clearly see the foundations of all the main principles of the Cynic school. Antisthenes also taught his students, or just random people in general, in the public gymnasium at a place called Kynosarges, outside the walls of Athens. Kynosarges means white dog, and that's one, but not the only, of the possible explanations how the Cynic school got its name. But there is a certain difference, at least from what we can see, in teachings of Antisthenes and in teachings of his pupil, Diogenes. Which is kind of okay, since it is philosophy, not, a monotheistic religion. But what is also important, there was a significant difference in lifestyle. Diogenes was essentially a homeless person, and Antisthenes, very unlikely. So Diogenes probably was the first person who pushed the asceticism of Antisthenes to the extremes and became the first stereotypical Cynic philosopher. So we are kind of trapped in the situation when you can't really call Diogenes a founder of Cynicism because there's a figure of Antisthenes looming behind his back. And yes, you can call Antisthenes the founder, but frankly, he wasn't a fully developed Cynic, so to speak. He was more like the precursor, a proto-Cynic. He wasn't Diogenes.